Adorama TV presents How They Do That, where we explore the world of professional photographers and share their techniques with you. Here's your host, Mark Wallace.
I've been fortunate enough to visit India on a couple of different occasions, and it's a place I just love. It's a country full of culture and history and color. The people are always warm and inviting, and it's just an amazing place. Well, the last time I was there, I was doing some freelance photojournalism, and I noticed that a lot of the things that I was seeing through the window of the bus or train or whatever I was riding on, and I didn't want to miss those opportunities. And so what I did was I stole a page from the Sport Shooter's Playbook, and I changed the way I was shooting. So most sports photographers, when they're shooting, the camera is stationary, but the subject is constantly moving, and so they're trying to compensate for that using some specific techniques. Well, here's one of those photos that I took using those techniques. It's a woman and a child in Bangalore. Now this photo was taken using my Canon 1DS Mark II with a 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8L lens. This lens is not an IS lens. It doesn't have any image stabilization, so I had some challenges to overcome. Normally when a sport shooter is taking photos, their camera is relatively stable, but their subject is moving. In my situation, it was just the exact opposite. My subject was still, but I was moving around. So I did 4 things to tweak this and make it work. The first thing is I changed my camera to shutter priority mode. Once I did that, I was able to change my shutter speed to 5/100th of a second. Now this shutter speed, although it's not super fast, it's fast enough to freeze the motion and eliminate some of the jitters of the camera and get me a nice crisp image of my subject. The second thing I did was I changed the drive mode of my camera. So I changed my drive mode to continuous shooting. Normally I have my camera set up for portraits, which is also a single shot drive mode. So when I take a shot, I click once, I get 1 click. But since I was moving and the bus was moving, I wanted more options than just 1 shot and hope to get lucky. So I changed my drive mode to continuous shooting, and so as I was zipping by, I was able to shoot multiple shots and then in post, choose the one that looked best. Well, another issue that I had was the focus mode. Normally, again, when I'm shooting portraits, I'm shooting in single focus mode. In other words, when I push my shutter release halfway down, my camera focuses on the subject, it beeps and locks the focus and says you're ready to go. Well, the problem is, since I was moving, that if my camera locked on the subject as I moved, by the time I shot, well, the distance would be different and I'd be out of focus. So I switched my camera's focusing mode to what a sport shooter would use, which is AI servo mode. Now, AI servo mode is also continuous focus mode with Nikon and other Canon brands. And what that does is, once the camera locks on the subject, it continuously focuses. So as the distances between the subject and the camera moves, the focus automatically updates to make sure you don't fall out of focus. Well, I had one last special challenge when I was shooting this portrait, and that is that I had lots of buses and cars and pedestrians and things moving between me and the subject because, well, we were in a bus. So what I did was I tweaked the AI servo sensitivity mode. And what that means is on this camera, I can tell my camera how sensitive it is to autofocus. So what I wanted it to do was to lock on the subject and ignore things that were moving between me, or between the camera and the subject. And I could do that by setting the sensitivity to low. And so I got, again, a nice focus that locked and stayed locked and ignored all the stuff between me. So when I actually shot the image, I got a great shot. And that's how that photo was taken. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining me on How They Do That, and I'll see you next time.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.